Hey folks, Green Stuff Gav here. This week we're going to do something a little bit different I'm going to show you the technique I use for pinning miniatures together. Now this is quite important for a lot of metal models where some of the pieces are big and heavy, especially like Inquisitor models, which I've got here. But it's also very useful for resin models or anything with big pieces that need to be held together, or stuff you want to keep with a stronger joint. So I'm doing this on a metal model, but the technique's the same whether you're using plastic, resin, metal, whatever, or even resin to metal, plastic to resin, where your poly cement won't work. Plastic glue. So the only thing we need here is a drill bit on a little hand drill and a piece of paper clip. Now the size of the drill bit you use will be different according to the size of the paper clip you use. So you can see these are about the same diameter. Now I've cleaned up these pieces. We can see here that this model, if I was to glue it, would only have a very small connection point. Obviously if I go in and file all this back and cut all this away, that would sit nicer, but that would then affect the height of the miniature. So we're going to put a pin into this piece, pin a hole into this piece, and glue them together, and they'll stick and hold nicely. So normally I go for the center point while pinning. Obviously you can see here this is a ridge, so this is going to be difficult. So we're going to find the point where they connect, which is about here. And all we're going to do is use our pin vise and drill into this piece. Obviously it's a lot harder depending on the material you're using. Obviously old pewter models are very difficult because they're big solid pieces of metal. Whereas if you were to do resin, you would go straight in, no trouble. Same with plastic. Just checking how deep that is. Could do it a little bit further. Let's see how far in this goes. Might go in a little bit further, I think, just to give it some stability. Obviously the depth you go will affect on the model that you're using. Obviously this is quite a large piece of metal, so doesn't really make a lot of difference. But if you're doing a plastic piece that you've only got so far to go in, you don't want to go all the way through the miniature. So put this here. Yeah, that's loads. So what we're going to do first, I'm going to put a spot of glue on this. Effectively we're going to glue the pin into the hole. It says, might need some more glue, running low. We've got a spot of glue on there. We're just gonna wiggle that into the hole, nice and deep. Now the next section, we're going to give that glue a couple of seconds to dry. Then we're going to cut the paper clip or brass rod, whatever you're using, and then we're going to line it up with where it will sit on this mini. Now some people put a spot of paint on it, and you can put paint on, line the model up, push them together, and that'll leave you a paint mark where you're going to drill. But the other way is we're going to just give ourselves about the same amount of distance. So, and that will then go on the magnet. So I've got a collection. So again, you can put a tiny bit of glue on, paint on, line it up, and that'll be where you want to go. The other instance is here, we just push them together. Don't know if you can see that. There's a mark right there. That tells me where I'm going to pin. So I'm going to carefully make sure I keep the pin vise in the right place as I start to drill. Just going to drill in a little bit just to check. It's almost like a pilot hole. Make sure it's in the right place. Okay, I think that's good. Just gonna drill. Ooh. This drill I'm using, I picked up when I worked at Games Workshop back in the early 2000s, so it's a very old pin vise, but still going. It's had new drill bits. It's obviously a good sharp drill bit. Yeah, we can see that's going to go in just about the right place. So I just need to drill that much out for it to go in. But you needn't buy just a miniatures firm's drill bits either. It is railway modelling shops will have loads of different pin vise drills as well as drill bits. Even some hardware stores will have small drill bits that would work. Because all effectively you're doing is you're putting holes in whatever material you're using. It's going to take a while because it's quite a large pin and my hands are very cold. So let's see how close that is. Yeah. The good thing with a pin as well is you can effectively bend it in place. So you can see I'm going to have some green stuff fill in to do there, but you can see the joints are flush. And it's easy as that. There's not a lot to it. And like I say, it's very useful for any unusual bits or any heavy duty pieces you need to glue together. I always recommend pinning. So as always, thanks for watching and have fun.